Hi, my name is Sarah, and here we are at Peninsula Shopping Center. I recently just graduated from LaSalle College of the Arts, and I'm so fortunate to have been offered the opportunity to showcase my work here at Islands, an indie gallery. So this work is entitled First Prayer. It actually harkens back to my memory of my first prayer. I was born in Saudi Arabia. My father was a practicing Muslim, and I was watching my older brother. He was playing Mario, and he was trying to defeat Bowser, and he kept dying. So obviously this frustrated me terribly as a child. And then my mom's then helper, Maria, taught me how to pray. She put my hands together and she led me line by line saying, "Dear God, please help my brother defeat Bowser." And I distinctively remember that was my first communion with this entity, so as to speak. In regards to this work, what I really wanted to resuscitate around was the idea of prayer itself. How prayer can be construed, even if you're not spiritually, religiously inclined, as this conversation with the unknown, conversation with what lies ahead and what is beyond us. So this is the work. It's not a very huge shopfront, as you can see. It's almost like a window display, but this is an art gallery and it's run by Islands, co-created by Erman, 𝐺𝑎𝑙𝑒𝑟𝑦, and Lizzie. So here we have a little girl painting that she's painted with plywood, glossed over with acrylic, and towards her are flying series of birds. So a lot of people have told me that it looks like doves. Actually, I have intended their proportions to be more alike the sparrow. If you recall the proportions of a dove, it's basically a pigeon. So its head is tiny and the body is huge. Whereas for these birds, you can see that the head is almost as same as the body size. So they're all flying towards the girl, and they are, I don't know. It's not that I don't know, but I would rather the audience come up with their own interpretation of the art. I find that actually when people come in and they tell me, you know, their interpretation of what they see, it makes me feel like I've succeeded in some way, because when people interpret art and they give their own meaning to it, I feel like I've connected with them on some level. So an interesting thing to note of what people have shared with me is that there's two camps of people. The first camp of people think that the bird is falling and they're breaking apart. The second camp of people feel like the birds are rising from the ashes like phoenixes. And personally, the way I look at it, I think that this reflects the psyche of the person as of what they're feeling at the moment. So it is interesting. Yeah. And at the corner over there, you see a little block with a bird rendition on it. So what this is actually, I did this maybe 2 years ago, and I think it was a premonition of what's to come, of my foray into more sculptural works. Another interesting thing to note, I didn't find this out until the opening itself, but someone told me that my work was directly opposite to a prayer room, directly opposite, like over there. So maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's fate. I would like to think it's fate. And yeah, that's the gist of my work. I designed this work specifically for the inhabitants of this space. If you look around us, you'll see that it is filled with guitar shops, beauty parlors, knick-knack shops, vinyl shops, and we're right next to a toilet. So it is very unusual to see an art gallery here. I wanted to design something for the inhabitants of this space to look at, and also for whoever passes by to come by the artwork, take a look, and feel somewhat at peace. I would say that I actually started out with mostly illustration and painting. Thanks to my education at LaSalle, I have been given the opportunities, or more rather, gave myself the opportunity to delve into other mediums, such as sculpture, such as music, which I never thought I was. So as of recent, I've been more into exploring the materiality of sculpture itself. I was notified of this opportunity to present in this space somewhere maybe 3 months ago. So as soon as I found out, I paid this place a visit. And initially, what the curators wanted from me was they wanted me to show my graduation work, which by all means I'm fine with. However, I didn't feel like it did justice to the opportunity that was offered to me. Space in Singapore is such a rarefied commodity. Thus, I wanted to honor kind of the opportunity that was offered to me and create new works for the space itself. So as you can see, there are birds, and I created 3 different types of bird. I knew that I wanted this setup, and actually in my first sketches, I designed the birds to be hanging, and I wanted them in different tiers. I put a hole in each bird at first, so as to attach the string. But what happens when you attach one string to a weighted object is that it toggles. So I tried to overcome that by putting 2 holes, and it was perfect, it was stable. But what it looked like was that the bird was either being crucified or shot with bullets. And I tried to imagine an installation with 70 to 80 birds with holes in them, and I thought that will not do. So I asked the curators, Erman, whether I could have permission to put the birds directly on the wall itself, and he gave me the okay sign, and thus it is like this. Initially also, I wanted to have a video screen at the center. I wanted this to be a multimedia installation. I was unfortunately told that the electrical circuit is not reliable. Thus, I decided to go with a painting. Paintings don't need batteries. So, about the design of this painting, it's originally from a few renditions of sketches. I knew that since I wanted to resuscitate this around the idea of praying, I wanted to have a motif of praying. So this girl is actually modeled after a character I designed for myself in my graduation work. So I designed an alter ego called Cherry Girl. She is a pop star, singer, weirdo, freak. And thus I also gave her the hair of Cherry Girl, which is a blue bob. It also harkens back to my inspiration from anime of this character from Neon Evangelion, Rei, and the whole philosophy that anime encapsulates is something I'm really drawn to and wish to espouse in my own work. Generally, when I do my work, I do want to go with it with the intention of understanding more about human phenomenology and also what does it really mean to be human. Yeah, and I think the beauty of art and the beauty of creating is such that we create things that others look at and gain more awareness about themselves, but we create and we also gain more awareness of ourselves. I felt scared, honestly, because this was the first time that I would be exhibiting in a space while not being a student, if that makes sense. So I was scared to make a mistake. I was scared to make any motifs that may be offensive to anyone because this is a public space. But I think that fear has also helped to kind of curate the type of images and the type of motifs that would go into streamlining into making this exhibition. Yeah, but I was also really excited about this, apart from the fear. So there are some days I drop by just to sit and to also talk to any curious bypassers who may have questions for me. And when they do, I printed out these stickers that I give them as a gift of thanks and a small memento for them to bring home with. Yeah, I feel that art shouldn't be just limited to the atas or the very cerebral-minded, but it should be accessible by everyone. From now, I really love this experience of site specificity. So I would love for another opportunity to do so again. Thank you so much, Islands. I really appreciate the opportunity. This walk is also co-curated by a group of people, Erman, 𝐺𝑎𝑙𝑒𝑟𝑦, and Lizzie. So they actually really liked my graduation work and invited me to be part of their gallery takeover for Islands. So I really have them to thank for also giving me the opportunity to show my work. Bye! Thanks for joining me.